You type the post, film the gym set, and send the text to your group chat outlining your new 90-day plan. You lock your screen, lay it face down on your desk, and wait for the notifications to light up your room. In that moment, a piece of your drive fades. You feel that electric rush of warmth when you tell people what you are going to build, the man you are going to become, and the empire you are going to create. They nod, they double tap, and they leave a supportive comment. And your brain betrays you. Your brain thinks the work is already done. You go to sleep feeling accomplished, but you wake up feeling hollow. You look at the tools, the blank screen, the weights. The fire is gone. The energy dissolved into conversation. You are trapped in a modern loop, famous in your own mind for things you haven't even started. In a valley between grey mountains, where the summer sun baked the earth and the soil demanded hard work, lived two young men named Leo and Dane. Both possessed minds full of brilliant ideas, but they chose entirely different ways to handle them. One Monday, Dane stood in the crowded village market. By the time the dry season ends, Dane announced, his voice earnest and full of hope, "I will open a stone mill at the edge of the river." The merchants clapped his shoulder. For hours at the tavern, Dane drank ale with men who admired his vision, explaining exactly how he would build it. Part of him wanted to inspire them. Another part just wanted to feel seen. Leo stood in the back of the tavern, watching his friend. Leo felt the exact same itch. He had drafted plans for a metallurgy kiln. The words rushed to the back of his throat. Just tell them, Leo thought. Just show them the drawings, so they know I'm not wasting my life. But as he watched Dane get drunk on the village praise, Leo felt a sudden wave of caution. He swallowed his pride. He turned around and walked out into the night air. The next morning, the harsh summer dawn broke. Dane lay in bed, exhausted from the night of validation. His motivation was completely depleted. He meant to get up. He truly did. But his body felt heavy, and the timber outside looked impossible to move. He closed his eyes, promising he'd start tomorrow. Leo, however, woke with a heavy ache in his chest. Because he hadn't spoken, the unfulfilled vision was clawing at his insides. He had to grab his tools and head toward the woods just to make the feeling stop. Years passed. Dane became a living warning. He was still the man who was going to build the mill. Every night at the tavern, he seemed a little more tired, his coat a little more worn. He wasn't a bad man. He was just addicted to the feeling of potential. The very people who had fueled his illusions now looked at him with quiet pity. He had traded a realized life for nights of borrowed importance. Leo watched his childhood friend fade. The fear of ending up like Dane chased Leo every day. He realized that talent meant nothing if it never became work. At the northern edge of the village lived Silas, an older man who kept to himself. Silas had built the Great Stone Bridge across the northern gorge 30 years ago. He had never announced it. One spring, the village simply woke up, and the stone was there. One evening, Leo found Silas near his small cabin, sharpening a simple drawknife. Scrape, scrape. The internal tension became too heavy for Leo to bear. "How do I protect my fire?" Leo asked. "I see what happens to Dane. I want to share my plans, but I am terrified it will drain me." Silas set the blade down. "You bleed your power into the wind. Come to my garden tomorrow at dawn." The next morning, Silas stood in a small plot of baked earth. He handed Leo a black seed. "Plant it 3 inches into the dirt. Pack the soil tight. Tell no one," Silas instructed. Leo knelt and buried the seed. Silas took a second seed and walked to the main path where merchants were passing. He held it up. "Look at this seed," Silas called out. "It will grow into an ironwood tree. Its shade will cool this path." The travelers stopped and praised their idea. Silas smiled, then placed the tiny seed directly on a sun-bleached boulder. He walked back to Leo. "The birds will take it," Leo said. "It has no soil." "But look how much they love it," Silas replied. "Dane is celebrated every night. Is that not what you want?" Silas looked at Leo. "Before your seed breaks the earth, you will face 3 tests. If you talk, you fail. First is the scream. You will want to talk just to feel seen. Next is the rebellion. Your ego will demand a reward when the work gets hard. Finally, the mockery. People will laugh at your lack of progress. Endure it." Months passed. Within days, the seed on the rock cracked in the sun, and crows scattered its fragments. In the dark garden, Leo endured. During the first week, he wanted to run to the tavern to tell them he was working on something grand. He stayed home. By week 3, his tools felt heavy. The romantic vision died, replaced by raw friction. He remembered the seed on the rock and kept watering the dirt. By week 6, Dane and his friends walked past Leo's closed doors. Dane chuckled, telling the others that Leo had finally given up. Leo's fists clenched. If I just step out and show them the blueprints, they'd shut up, Leo thought. Instead, he looked at the dirt and stayed in the shadows. On the 42nd morning, a sharp needle of green broke the baked earth. Silas stood beside him. The seed in the dirt didn't look for praise. It used the dark to build roots. Silas led Leo into his workshop. He pointed to a large leather bellows used for the forge. He pressed the handles, and a powerful blast of air made the coals glow white-hot. "This is your internal drive," Silas said. "When you conceive a vision, tension builds. The brain hates unfulfilled tension. It wants to close the loop. You can spend years sweating to build the structure, or you can simply open your mouth and let the air escape." Silas took a knife and sliced a small slit in the canvas of the bellows. He pumped the handles again. A weak wheeze escaped through the tear. The coals remained cold. "Every time you tell a friend or a camera about your grand plans," Silas said, "you cut a hole in your own bellows. You get a tiny burst of satisfaction, and your brain thinks the work is done. You drained the energy meant to build the thing." Leo realized his past failures weren't due to a lack of talent. He was simply addicted to attention. Leo left the cabin with terrifying clarity. He decided to build a wooden armchair from rough walnut timber. Instead of telling the market, he went into his damp shed. He closed the door. The work was hard. His fingers bled and his joints throbbed. Multiple times, a wrong cut ruined hours of work. In those moments of frustration, the urge returned. Go to the tavern. Tell them it's the hardest wood you've ever carved. Get the sympathy. But he remembered the wheezing bellows. He gripped his tools tighter. Because he never spoke about the frustration, the work absorbed it. 3 weeks became 6. Leo vanished from village life. Working in absolute secrecy, a change occurred. There was no audience. There was only the wood. If he made a mistake, it simply demanded he be more precise. He found a steady peace in their isolation. On a Tuesday morning, Leo blew the fine dust off the surface. The chair was finished. It was an object of undeniable grace. The hidden joints were seamless. The dark wood caught the pale light. Leo did not run outside to show it off. He simply sat down. He experienced a sensation that made his eyes water. It wasn't excitement. It was self-respect. He carried the chair onto his stone porch to let the oil cure. An hour later, a wealthy landowner named Vance stopped his cart. Vance had always ignored Leo. Now he stared at the porch. He walked up and traced the seamless joint of the chair. "Who built this?" Vance asked, astonished. Leo opened the door, his hands dark with oil. "I did." Vance looked at him with newfound respect. "Name your price." "It is not for sale," Leo said. "But I can begin another next week, if you can pay for the quiet it requires." Vance nodded. "Just make it like this." Word spread not through Leo's shouting, but through Vance's envy. Leo's workshop remained closed to crowds. When men ordered tables or beams, he didn't boast. He took measurements, stated his price, and closed the door. The less he spoke, the more valuable his work became. His actions had become so loud that his words were no longer necessary. Years marched on. Leo quietly rebuilt the mill Dane had once promised, standing by the river as the great wheel turned. Dane sat by the tavern window, watching the water, a little older, a little sadder, still talking about tomorrow. On the night before the autumn rains, Leo walked to Silas's cabin to bring the old man a gift. The cabin was empty. On the table lay a piece of slate. The tree has grown strong. Remember the law of the dark soil, Leo. Be the stone that stays steady while the world talks. Leo placed his gift on the table and bowed his head. Now, look back at your own life. Look at the graveyard of half-finished notebooks, abandoned memberships, and the grand promises made on a late Tuesday night. How many times have you traded the reality of achievement for the temporary high of an announcement? How many seeds have you dug out of the dark just to show people you had won? Protect the work long enough for it to become real.